between, media.
Welcome in, everybody's Divots. Everybody's what in the world? That's one hell of a way to start the show. Welcome.
You got a new studio, and now you can't even do an intro right.
That's right. It's you ripped the Band-Aid off, the wrapping right off the present there. New studio here for Divots and Pivots for myself. But as always, I'm Angela Duke. This is Keith Fleming. We are Divots.
Actually,
and
can't
Pivots.
show my shirt. I'm Tiger Woods. So.
Oh. You are Tiger Woods. That's wishful thinking. Although, would you want maybe don't be Tiger Woods
take
driving?
It. Yeah, I mean, he's had some downs, but I'd definitely take the ups.
No, I would 100% take the ups as well. As always, brought to you by Acorn Hills. Get on over to acornhillsco.com. Sign up for their Founders Club. That's a quarterly subscription service. You get a box of a different selection of random attire and accessories every quarter, selected for you by Nate. So get on over there, acornhillsco.com. Use discount code DivPiv15 to get 15% off. I am jumbling all my letters around.
Yeah, it's not your A game early.
It's not
PGA Championship preview.
That's all right. It's I'm just gonna pull a Scotty Scheffler. I'm gonna come in a little soft, a little normal looking and sounding, and then I'm gonna turn it on. Friday through Sunday. So we'll see. But before we get into the PGA, it was an exciting week this past week for
great tournament.
With the Truist, and then not even just the Truist, but the Myrtle Beach alternative events as well.
Not gonna lie.
So I caught some of it on Sunday because we went out for Mother's Day, like late lunch, early dinner.
And you didn't want to spend time, with your wife, so instead you're watching on your phone?
No, not at all. The place we went, so for some reason,
they had the TV?
On Mother's Day, they didn't just have a TV. They had a massive projector screen.
Oh, man, that is something that needs to go in the memory bank for all activities.
It was in the room that we were sitting in. They just had this massive, I don't even know what size it would be, but a huge projector screen set up with the golf on it. And I was like, well, this is fantastic. So it was hard not to watch. It was in my face.
I mean, it's not your fault if it's on in the, establishment that you're at. It's like, look, this is just the game we play.
Right. So they had the Truist on for a little bit, and then whatever channel they were showing it on, switched coverage over to the Myrtle Beach.
Brant Snedeker,
which I honestly love seeing him win. I mean, sure, I was all on board for wanting to see Mark Hubbard win, of course. I think that was just a fun story that everyone bought into. So to see so much excitement around the alternate event was fun.
Have I told you the Brant Snedeker story before?
I don't think so. I don't remember any Brant Snedeker story.
So when I lived in St. Simons and was working as an assistant golf pro at Sea Palms, it was an area, especially this was the late 2000s. There was a lot of PGA Tour guys that basically lived in St. Simons, and you would see them around town like pretty regularly. Because
the early day Jupiter, like before Jupiter became what it was.
And there's still a lot of them there. Like Harris English, like there's a bunch of them. Davis Love obviously still lives down there. Snedeker still got a place. Kuchar, but again, you would see these guys just out and about because it's a resort, town where, there's the regulars, which are mostly people that either work or, live there year round. Right. And then, they're basically regulars. Well, I think it was like the 2006 or 7 Masters. He was in the lead going into Sunday, shot like 78. It was rough. He choked. I mean, it happens. It's golf. Mm-hmm. But we're at dinner, and I have a friend who's just the biggest asshole like in the world. And we saw him go to the restroom, and on the way back, Brant Snedeker is sitting at a table. Yeah. And you see my buddy Roger and Brent start having a conversation. All of a sudden, you kind of see Brent's head go down. And then as Roger walks away, like the other person at the table is just like, what the Apparently, Roger said, I hated it for you. Felt really gutted watching you choke it away on Sunday. And I know Roger, that's exactly how he said it. It's the way he talks. But I could not imagine. And he had no idea he'd done something wrong. I'm like, dude, that is so dick.
That's
and
so
he's
bad.
Like, no. I'm like, yes. I'm like, you said he choked it away. He goes, he did choke you
to his face. Yeah, but you said it to his face while he's having dinner or lunch or whatever it was. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I feel uncomfortable just hearing the story.
I know,
if
right?
I had watched it happen live And like I feel like I would get like the the heebie-jeebies just sitting there watching it because it would be.
For
like
the
watching
record,
a
I did
slow
go
motion train
over
crash.
and apologize like before we left and just
good.
said, look, my friend's an idiot. I'm really sorry. And we're a big fan of yours, by the way. Please disregard the huge insult that was just hurled at you. But
and how did Brant react to your apology?
He was very nice. I mean, no,
I was
he
just
was
saying
really
at
nice.
that
Like
point, I
him
would
and Boo Weekly. And
Weekly,
there
nice.
was one other guy who was the other? There was three of them that were just really nice to just the regs. Boo Weekly would pretty regularly at Bubba Garcia's just pick up like the tab. Like coming. I mean, it's a small restaurant. Don't get me wrong. It's not like there's 100 people in there. There's like maybe 30, 40 at the most, but it was pretty cool that, they'd be like, Boo Weekly covered y'all's tab.
Well, that's when you get to know the schedule that he goes in there. So you're always in there just in case he decides to do it. You got to plan.
Apparently, the Weekly was always fishing and not golfing.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
He was like, how's your game? I don't know. I've been fishing the last 3 days.
He was Grant Horvat before Grant Horvat was
Horvat.
So
Boo had a game though, man.
Boo had himself in some tournaments. Yeah, he had himself in plenty of tournaments. As far when I say in tournaments, I mean like at the end, like he was in the mix and contention. So yeah, Boo Weekly is definitely a name that people should remember and know.
Ball striker, man.
It was fun to see Brent Snedeker out there doing his thing.
Yeah, man, taking the kids down. Not what they brought this up on the 19th hole. I don't know if that's what the PGA Tour is hoping for from a secondary event like this, or you're hoping you build up a young star or something, and then Brent Snedeker goes, you know what? Maybe I won't go to the senior tour just yet.
Yeah, they want that to be the young, the young guys in contention at those events, and instead you got Mark Hubbard and Brent Snedeker firing, down the stretch, but like I said, everybody still wanted to watch it.
I thought you were going to say, I thought the big tournament was incredible.
It was.
Like 100%. Sunday. I'm so mad at Ricky Fowler. Like, I shouldn't get this invested, but I mean, watching him crawl back and get like to where the moment he had a chance to win that tournament, he hit that incredible iron shot on 17 to like 6-7 feet. And I remember watching him go, sit. And I'm going, what are you worried about? You just threw it in tight from 200. You're Ricky Fowler. You're putting back up the hill. Horrible stroke. Pushes it out to the right. Misses it. Then stripes drive. Misses with a short iron into 18. Makes bogey. Tournament's over. And it's like, this is the difference in winning and losing golf tournaments. And I don't mean to say it like as, God, I can't believe Fowler did it. That's the hard part about golf is the pressure, right? Like once something is a reality and it gets into your head, man, like it's like a disease, your brain. It's the worst thing working against you. And it was kind of a game of hot potato there for a while where every time one of these guys would kind of look like they're about to take control of it, including right now the best player in the world, Cam Young, they just kind of fall apart. But very impressed by Alex Fitzpatrick. I know we both talked up last week for both DFS. And, I said that I think he was like plus 350 to top 20. He got off to an awful start, double bogey in the par 5, then battled his way back. I know he faltered at the end, but just the fact that he got back into the tournament, I think says a lot about his grit. And then Riton, man, just said, hey, move over. I'm going to, get a big win on the PGA Tour, a bunch of cash, a bunch of points. And you got two more years of seeing that smooth swing.
Yeah, Riton, he looked good really all week. I know round 2, it looked like he was going to fade there, but, he was at least consistent pretty much.
A really hard golf course, too. I didn't think they did a good enough job talking about they beat Quail Hollow down, which that is not easy to do.
No, and that's the thing. Even in his worst round of the weekend was round 2, where he shot only 1 under. But even with that, it's not like he was going out there and birdie and then bogey or double bogey. Like there wasn't that. He pretty much parred every hole. He had 2 bogeys, a birdie, and an eagle. So I mean, even that you could say, even though it was a 1 under round, that's still a good consistent round, and that's what you want to see out of a guy heading into a major championship. I mean, he's in great form. He looked good the week before. Like he's been in the mix, so he's definitely someone to keep an eye on as we talk. But I thought, Ricky Fowler was that's the Ricky Fowler experience at this point. Maybe it helps him. You know what I mean? Maybe he needed to get that because it does sometimes. Like it's been so long since he's had that feeling. As somebody who's played, obviously not at that level, but played competitive golf, and like
there was about a 4-year stretch where I was not in contention in any tournament. And then I'll admit that like first year that I was, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, it messed with me, man. And I played really bad. But I played a lot better the next time I got in that situation because I didn't let it affect me as much. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you I think you get in a hurry in those moments. And the best thing to do is to breathe and, relax, slow down. And it just, I want Fowler to win a major so bad. I think this venue is,
I would love to see that too.
For somebody like Ricky Fowler and his game. I don't know if he can get it done. We'll see.
So we'll see, and we'll get to the specifics about this major this week because it's honestly, from what we're hearing from comments from Rory and some other guys, this is not playing like your typical PGA Championship course. And in some ways, not always, like in some ways it is. In some ways you gotta, like, the putting is going to need to be on point this week. The greens are tricky is what they're saying, and you're going to need to.
Oh, these are massive greens, like 7,800 square feet.
Oh yeah, they're massive. But from what we're hearing is they also there's a lot of spines, there's a lot of direction changes.
Well, they have
pin placements are going to be so important.
It's not like your typical like Ross course Pinehurst, right? Where huge front to back slopes. These are tiered greens, like where there is basically 5 or 6 giant sections that they can really change up where they put the pins. And again, they're not all necessarily front to back sloping. It could be one where the middle of the green is the high point, and then behind it, it's severely sloped, and there's 2 tiers behind there. I mean, these things are really big. The 11th hole was, I think, trending on Twitter because if you miss short there, good luck. It's going to be interesting, but I have concerns about, Rory and Xander have both basically said what my concern was 2 weeks ago when we first started talking about it. The longest guys are just going to pound driver and take on these corners. And if it gets wet, they're going to be able to do it.
Well, and that's pretty much what they're saying. Like the bunkers are like you got to carry average like 285. I read to really take these bunkers out of play, which is getting to be more and more standard for a lot of these guys. So like that's not really a concern. And from what we're hearing, the rough is
about 3 inches, right?
Yeah, but so the rough's not crazy penalized. Now they did say there is some spots that you might get a pretty shitty lie when it comes to the rough. But
I think it's more though that it is hard for them to control the yardage out of the rough. And if these greens are as tricky as everyone is saying, which that's been pretty consistent, that could be a defense that I have not considered enough. Is not so much that it's difficult for them to get good contact on the ball, but just flyers, right? Like it's very like they have a much harder time figuring out how far an iron shot is going to come out of the rough than these dudes, do out of the fairway.
Well, and that's a lot of their, with these greens and the pin placements being what they're going to be. Like you have to be accurate. Now, luckily, a lot of these approach shots will probably be wedges. Like one of these stats I'm looking at is 125 to 150 approaches.
I looked at the whole 125 to 200 gauntlet for guys that may try to lay up and play it, more as a traditional Ross course. But no, I'm 100% with you. I mean, you got 8 par 4s that are playing less than 450 yards. Like the PGA Championship for the last 5 years, we've had like 8 holes of 500 yards or more.
Right, and we do not have that. The par 3s are long, but the par 4s average, are so gettable. And the par 5s are very gettable too. So like this, I feel like we're
I do think that 600-yard one though is going to be a big difference maker because it's the one that I don't think the whole field will be able to get to in 2.
Correct.
So I think the guys that can play that, say, 4 or 5 under for the week, that could be a real leg up on the rest of the field.
I totally agree. So like I think this is not going to be the hardest major we have seen in compared to other years. Like we're seeing, what was the side? I'm pretty sure I wrote it down. I didn't write it down. There was like this. I just think there was a stat I had to prove that this is.
I think that it's going to be very similar. The Harding Park one in 2020, which was the last one that played under 7,400 yards. That was one that Colin Morikawa won. And similar, I think if I remember correctly, there was 2 par 4s there that a good percentage of the field could drive. And there's 2 par 4s here that they're saying, depending on where they put the tees, a lot of these guys might be able to give it a go.
Right. Let's take a look at the course. I just said it before the show, and now I can't spit it out. Aronimink.
This is
Thank
awesome.
You. I literally,
like it's the opposite of the normal deal with us, where I can't pronounce anything. I know, and I got this one down. Aronimink.
And I nailed it before the show, and then I just absolutely spaced on it. But yeah, Aronimink. Yeah, like you said, so it's only roughly 7,394 yards. It's a par 70 only as well. We got the bent grass, and like you said, yeah, 8,300 square feet of green size. The greens are massive.
These are massive.
A ton of bunkers as well, but once again, the bunkers are, if you can hit it far, you kind of take out the majority of them. So that's in play.
They will have a good bit though on approach too. I want to say,
yeah, there's plenty around the green and whatnot,
and they're going to be costly. They're basically like pot bunkers. And if you don't carry them and you get in them, because they're so small, like it's not your normal giant bunker on the corner, you're just going to get some really awkward lies and stances and stuff that I think, it is going to be penalizing if you go in them. I just worry that, again, that like top 10% in length is once again got a huge advantage at a venue that is supposedly like the whole point of it is it takes away the distance being the main factor and really tests the whole game. And I just don't know if that's possible in modern golf.
Well, Rory's specific comment was that this will not challenge the entire game for most guys. So like that's something to be said. I think those comments will kind of ring true and be very telling for maybe what we see in the future for PJ. Maybe there'll be an overcorrection. We'll see how this week goes. But let's break down some of these holes because the par threes, like we said,
average 215. So the par threes are big. I actually weighted that a little heavier than I normally do in my model because again, I just think that that's somewhere where if you're a Cam Young, if you're a Russell Henley, like these guys that play par threes really well, Adam Scott. You play them a couple under par, I think you're going to pick up strokes on the field. Right. So I do think that it's going to be a key factor.
I 100% played that into a role for me as well this week, just because they are, they stand out on this course.
And there's twice as many of them as there are par 5. So
correct. Yeah, that's why it's a par 70. Remember that. So kind of the structure of these rounds is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. The par 4s are pretty average, nothing crazy there. Like you alluded to, they're actually probably a little shorter than as a whole. So that's going to be definitely lead to some gettable scoring, and the par 5s are. The one is long, and then the other one is 100% scoreable.
It's full send for everybody.
Yeah, that's a full send for sure. So, like I said, the course in my eyes is definitely setting up for pretty low scores, I think, for considering a major. Now, like you said, if it gets a little wet, I haven't looked at the weather report, but if it gets a little wet,
I think potentially rain Thursday and Friday. I don't know. It's not like a ton, but enough to weten the course. And
so that will make it interesting, given if Thursday and Friday are wet, and then all of a sudden the weekend dries out and the course plays
cooler conditions too. Then like they're saying it's going to be like in the 50s, and I think no higher than 80. So that'll be nice for the guys there.
Yeah, so that should.
But that's going to mean the ball will not travel quite as far.
Correct, and if that'll also mean that if the course does get wet Thursday and Friday, it's going to take a lot longer to dry out. So
correct.
That should definitely play a role considering what could be possible here when it comes to this course. So yeah, defending champion here, Scotty Scheffler, obviously, 100% in play to win again. Obviously,
how can he follow it up? He got arrested 2 years ago at the PGA Championship, followed it up with winning it, and then it's like, what is he going to do for this year?
Right. Wait. So we'll see. Hey, Zero God, thanks for the comment. Cheers as well. Cheers to you here. I don't think
Zero God 09. What's going on, man?
But I'll always throw a cheers up on the screen, so keep that coming. Yeah. Thank you. But so I'm curious. I don't know if you saw it. It came out just a little bit this afternoon. Rory ended his practice round early. I'm not too concerned about it. He's got a blister on his, I think it was his pinky toe or his big toe. It's one of the toes.
That's okay. So this is where golf gets ridiculous. But exactly. He's going to be fine. Okay?
And he said he's going to be fine. I know he's going to be fine.
What is this going to be? Blistergate? Is that what we're starting?
But it's gonna be a story because it's Rory. It's why not? It's kind of like when a pitcher Although a pitcher, it affects a pitcher more when they have a little hangnail or a blister on their throwing hand, because that actually affects the way the ball spins. So
where was one of Rory's buddies just saying, "Hey, dude, I don't know if it's the best thing to let it get out that you're stopping your round because you got a blister on one of your toes."
I think it would be better to say,
dude, you're gonna sound like a giant, you know what? So let's just.
So here's the thing. I do get why he ended the round early, because I get not wanting to make the blister worse. Like I understand that, because it will be it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's not going to stop him from playing. It's not going to stop him from playing his best, but it's probably going to be slightly uncomfortable. So I get not wanting to make it worse.
I can't wait for when people compare Rory's win with his blister this year. Is it more impressive, or Tiger's win in 08,
right.
One leg?
Or the Kurt Schilling bloody sock, or it's all these things, but no, I think it probably would have been more beneficial, like you said, from the friend perspective. Like, dude, don't say you have a blister. Say you shit your pants.
Yeah,
say you get the runs.
I got I got IBS, man.
Throw some mud on your ass and say, oh well, I'll be good by Thursday.
Or blame your wife. I do that all the time. If I don't want to stick around for another 9 or what, I'm like, dude, Brittany, she wants me back at the house. I got to go. So.
Right. Zero good. Yes. Cheers to you as well. We are having a wonderful day, so we're going to keep that.
PGA Championship week, man. How can you not be going wonderful, man? I'm very fired up for this tournament. The golf world is in a great spot. I mean, you've got the best players in the world. Scotty Scheffler and Rory have both already won this year. Mm-hmm. Rory won another major, won the Masters back-to-back, 4th guy in history to do that. Cam Young, multiple-time winner. Matt Fitzpatrick, multiple-time winner. Like, it's just awesome. There's so many good players playing at a very high level right here, like at this moment. And this is a track that I do think that it's going to open up the field more, like, because I think this is like a Russell Henley course.
Sure.
And I think that, is he still going to be at a disadvantage to the Rory McIlroys and like those guys? Of course. But I think it's less at a venue like this than it would be at the last 4 or 5 PGA Championships, which are all these monster golf courses that play like 7,700 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it feels like it's like I'm 100% factoring in current form over history, because once again, it's a major that changes courses every year. It's in a rotation, but current form historically, I feel like the PGA Championship has always been a good barometer of current form. So the guys that are playing well, I'm definitely looking at, like, and we'll get into some more specifics, but someone like Victor Hovland's kind of turned it back on. Like, he's intriguing to me.
I don't know. I saw him hitting cross-handed shots on the range today.
Oh, was he really?
Yes.
Oh, you sold me. I'm unstarring his ass as cross-handed shit. Get out of here.
I'm like, what is wrong with you, Victor?
Oh, come on. Don't be tinkering this week. Give me a break.
You're such a weird dude, man.
But I guess some other news, just to tackle some news as far as which not surprisingly, Jake Knapp withdraws. He will not be playing. So that's we kind of expected that.
I'm just mad because I was going to say that Sudarshan Yalamadra was going to win the golf tournament, being the final alternate to get in the field, just like John Daly 25 years ago at the PGA Championships, the 25th anniversary of his first major win. I can't say that anymore because somebody else got in the field today with Knapp withdrawing, so he's on my crap list.
So I think that's what. Let me look up, because BetSpert still has Shooter there as not having a salary yet. So let me see if they've updated that yet as far as on DraftKings, because he's rates out fantastic for me. So I'm gonna guess that he's probably gonna be in like the 7K range, low to mid 7K.
He's like 6,900, I believe.
Okay, so that sounds about right, but like I said,
his odds are insane though. He's like 270 to 1 to win.
Yeah,
I have him on my cheat sheet. What is the top 5? And the top 5 odds are, top 10 are plus 1150. Top 5 is plus 2,200.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
He's
top
in good 20
form.
plus 465. That's my favorite. Top 20 plus 465.
That seems like a smash spot. He's been in such good form this year too. So that seems like a misprice. I want to look at some of these bets too right now, because I haven't looked at the some of the odds yet. But let's see here. So, yeah, obviously Scotty is favored, outright winner at plus 385.
I still feel like Cam is not a ridiculous price.
No, plus 1,500.
Because you're getting a guy that's playing better than Scotty Scheffler. Is he Scotty Scheffler? No. Like,
no,
but get me wrong. He's not, but
he's
playing better than Scotty Scheffler right now. Like, he just is.
100%.
And you're getting him for like 5 times the odds. So, like, if you think it makes sense to bet Scotty Scheffler, which I think most of us don't agree at these odds because it's not worth it unless it's something where it's like, I have to feel like Scheffler is going to win the event going in to even consider it right now at his odds. To where if you're getting 5 times that with a guy that has won or been right there in a bunch, including the first major of the year at Augusta where he finished 3rd, I think that's a good value. Now, if you'd have listened to us, me and you both said after his first win, you need to go ahead and take Cam Young in all the majors because I knew once that win happened, there was a chance that if he continued to play well, it would, plummet, and it would. I got him at, I believe it was 30-1, and that was, again, 4 or 5 weeks ago whenever he won the Players.
Yeah, now he's plus 1,500, yeah. I will say some guys sitting at at plus 6,100 and plus 6,200, Goddard, Nikolai, and Tyrrell Hatton. Those are some good odds right there for 3-1.
Russell Henley is 50-1. What are people doing? This is a Russell Henley golf course. Like, I'm almost to the point where I want to bet Justin Thomas. Because
Justin Thomas is great value too.
Yeah.
There's some really good odds for outright winners, and like you said, if you start breaking down and getting into, your 20,
that's what I did.
Fantastic.
So Hogard, to your point, he is plus 970 to top 5. Patrick Reed,
I love that,
is almost 11-1 to top 5. Sepp Straka, who won on a venue, a lot of people are comparing to this in the same state. This time last year, he's 13-1 to top 5. And my boy Alex Fitzpatrick, who is on a Hita, he's almost 18-1 to top 5. And then the top 10, again, you're getting nearly 5-1 on Hogard, Reed. Alex Smalley is almost 8-1 to top 10. He's finished, I think, 21st or better in his last 5 PGA starts. Like, I think there's real value this week in the top 5, top 10, top 20. And that's actually what a majority of my betting card is over the wins. I only bet Cam to win. And then I have like Russell, Hatton, Hogard, Reed. I took Batia and Straka because they're both over 100-1. And I feel like that's too high. Same thing for Smalley. And then the 2 very long shots I took were Yella Mardre and Brian Harman. Anytime I get on a golf course that they said it's going to be important to be sharp on and around the greens and you need to drive the ball accurately, I'm always going to throw Brian Harman in there.
That's fair.
He's in the mix. These are also this is the kind of course that he wins at. A lot of people compare it to a link style course. He's one of the best link style players in the world. And I think the same for some of the European dudes. Like, if this is truly a link style course, I could see the correlation where like Robert McIntyre is another guy that I really like this week. Like, he doesn't match up in too many of the form parts of it, mainly because of his approach play has not been nearly as sharp as has been in recent years. But if you look at him on links courses and you look at him on bent grass greens, which these are, he makes everything on bent grass greens, like everything. Same thing for Patrick Reed, who has a much more successful history on Donald Ross golf courses. His first ever win, Sedgefield Country Club back in 2013. He finished top 15 at the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. Like, he if you look over and over again, he plays well in these venues. And Reed is actually doing the one thing that is normally the issue with his game. He's hitting his approaches really well. He's gained strokes in every tournament this year on the field on approach. He's 80-1, and this guy's won a major. And I really do think like the Patrick Reeds, the Russell Henleys, even like the Tommy Fleetwoods, these guys that are like above average to borderline elite at every part of their game, this venue sets up to where if they get on a heater, like they could go deep. And that's why I also think like the Sepp Strakas and other guys of the world, again, who are just so good, especially with their irons, because you brought it up, they're going to get so many of those like wedge mid-iron shots into the green. And you have guys like Siwoo Kim, right, who ranks like top 3 in every metric from 125 to 200. Like, you put it in 25-yard metrics, he's there. Adam Scott's another guy that's like, he's top 10 in every metric. And if they have, a good putting week, I absolutely think they can win. You know what I mean? Like, any of those guys.
Putting is going to be key this week.
For sure.
Putting is going to be key, and I've been strokes gained putting used to be one of those stats that I just threw in every single week, no matter what, because I felt it was important. But then as I started really looking at the results and kind of watching the ebbs and flows that guys go through putting, I stopped automatically putting it in. Now I barely ever put it in, but this is a week I am 100% putting it in there. Not only
you don't put it in at all.
No, I do a lot, but not. What I'm saying is, I used to automatically leave it in there no matter what. Even if it was an extra stat that I, one more than I.
That was more just out of curiosity for me.
Yeah.
Like, mine is normally 5%. Like, that's all it is. It's just a baby slither. But sure. I was going to be interested to say, you're like, now I'm throwing it out the window. But there are events that probably would be the wise way to do it. I've never even thought about that.
So I set it with my higher stats. I set it 12% this week. I set putting at 8% to be. So what I should say is I set strokes gained putting at 8%, but I set 3-putt avoidance at 10%.
No, 3-putt avoidance, and so I really
doubled up on it this week.
The mid-range putts I think are huge too. Like, you're going to get with those size greens, you're going to have a lot of 6, 7, to 20-foot putts. Whether it be because you missed the green and you had to chip up, or you're again having to putt 100 foot down 2 tiers. And I do think that, like, for Siwoo Kim, that is actually one of the reasons that if you like Siwoo this week, his big bugaboo, if you will, is obviously the dude can't putt, but he does rank pretty high in 3-putt avoidance, and he ranks really high in putts of 25 feet or more. So
he's just not hitting them for birdies. That's the problem.
But I mean, it could be a big deal this week if he has a elite iron week, like we know he can. That, again, if he can just pick up strokes on the field from just those situations of not 3-putting where other people will be, and also, doing a little better on those long, bomb putts, it does. I could see it also lining up for Siwoo. I think this is just one of those events that if you're an elite iron player and you drive the ball well and make some putts, you can go so deep. Now, other guys will have success. Some of the people that are going to be very aggressive, like on the par 4s, and, gain a bunch of strokes off the tee. But I think overall, the guys that I really want this week are still the ball strikers, the grinders, the guys that know how to score no matter what the conditions are.
So before I hit all my stats to you, you mentioned Alex Fitzpatrick, and so I want to ask you why you feel comfortable enough to play him this week. Because to me, I think I texted you this. To me, it's been the past few years, it's been the Zurich. No surprise, him and Matt, they just work together for it. So it's no surprise to see him do well there. Then he carries that momentum to the week after. But then
2 weeks after.
Then he disappears again. Typically, he starts to so. What I mean, what did Alex do? I didn't even. What did Alex?
What did he do? He
do
finished 4th. He finished 4th last week after a 9th place.
No, last week. Yes, I know that. Yeah,
so he's finished top 10 2 weeks in a row.
Correct.
In the 2 weeks, he is averaging 311 yards off the tee, hitting 70% of his fairways. Which, by the way, we're at 2 very difficult driving golf courses. I'd like to add of Quail Hollow and Donnie's Place in Florida. And then he's hitting 74% of his greens in regulation. He would rank top 20 on tour if you took the last 2 tournaments in strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach, and strokes gained, scrambling. And then he would rank top 40 in every distance from 125 to 150, 150 to 175, 175 to 200 in proximity. He's on a heater. I think that this is a course too. He plays a cut, which again, and he moves it, which was the one thing I was not aware of, is dude's got some freaking distance. Like I did not know little Fitz can, hit it out there like that. And I just think that, I think he believes in himself, and that can happen. When you have an older sibling that is that good at something, and you always grow up getting your brains beat in. I just think it makes you such a competitor because you have to give your all every single day or you're going to get destroyed. And a lot of times what you see is when those younger siblings finally realize, hey, I think I can beat my older, brother or sister at the sport that they are great at. And I've been told my whole life, like, why can't you be more like your brother or sister? They end up actually being better than the brother because they have the experience and the will and just, they just work at it so hard. And I'm a believer, man. Like, I just think it's so impressive, especially what he did on the back nine. He made a terrible double early on a par 5 that should have sunk his tournament. Almost the same thing. Yeah. A double for Cam Young sunk his. He never fought back. Alex fought back, birdied 2 of the hardest holes on the golf course. And again, yeah, I know he kind of bogeyed a couple coming in, but he's also probably running on fumes. And sure. I do think, though, also with this being kind of a link style course, he's going to be very familiar with that kind of golf
He's
course.
Had success at the Open before and whatnot. So I was just curious the argument. Like, I don't necessarily.
Oh, I know you're not somebody that's like you're an idiot anyway. I know.
No,
that,
I was just more so curious the argument because I know he's on a heater right now. This is the type of tournament in my eyes that would kill a heater for some guys. You know what I mean? Because it's a major and they step in and let's be honest, Alice.
But it's the easiest of them, right? Like it's not like if this was the U.S. Open or the Masters, I'd be very concerned. Like I really would.
Sure,
but I think that especially being at a venue that nobody is going to have a big leg up of like I've played here a million times and he hasn't, right? Like he has been doing this for 3 straight weeks, going and playing a venue that he didn't know he was going to play until like the week before and doing very well at it. So maybe he's just in a routine too.
And that very well could be the case. And I will say, so let me get to the stats because he does rank out fairly well.
I knew he was going to.
He ranks out 21st in my model. So like it's
pretty good. So and he's 5,700 on DK.
He's at 5,900
or 59.
So the stats I went with, so strokes gained approach, obviously huge this week. You got to be accurate, but to double up on that, I did go with the proximity from 125 to 150. I also did, like I said, strokes gained putting, 3-putt avoidance, and then I did include carry distance specifically because of the bunkers. Like I driving distance, total drive. You could have gone a few different ways. I mixed it up.
No, I think that's the right. If you're going to incorporate distance, I think that with the potential rain and everything, carry distance is the correct.
Yeah. So I went that, and then I did that both for the last like few months of play here, but then I also did that for the last 2 years of comp courses. And like I said, 12% approach, the fairway distance was also 12%. So those are my highest ones. Because
I still like total driving too. I think that again, this is a week that accuracy off the tee is going to be important too. Because I think that if you don't hit it a long way, as long as you're hitting fairways, it's not like you're going to have 5, 6 4-irons into every green. You're going to also be hitting like 7, 8, 9 wedges in most of these holes. So I think that, if you can just drive the ball, like a Corey Connors or somebody that I would be shocked if he doesn't finish top 20. He plays great at Donald Ross courses. He's a robot off the tee. I think he's like second in driving accuracy, and he's, great with all of his irons. So, those are the kind of guys that I think are really safe plays still this week. Because I know we're talking about you want distance, and it is, I think, going to be a huge benefit for some of these guys. But I don't think you can just get away, beating this golf course just bombing it either. You're going to have to still make putts and be really, precise with your approaches because of the greens and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but that brings up a good point because I'm personally not feeling Bryson this week. When you say say beating a golf course to death, like to me that's Bryson, right. And he's just, to me, what the times we have seen him on the PGA,
his irons are not sharp. That's
he looks
struggles.
He looks inconsistent right now, which is unfortunate because if he was playing more consistent with his irons, I feel like would have the potential to dominate this.
He won the 2024 U.S. Open on a Donald Ross course by doing something that nobody had seen, done to Pinehurst, which is just, I'm just going to fly at 350 on every hole.
Right.
So
he's just not doing everything else well enough right now. And
the problem is, I just like him and Rahm. especially for their price, which is, the big issue is what you get with it by, betting on them. With the live situation, like it's got to be a toll. Like you can't tell me it's not. So
it has to be.
It has to be affecting them, and that's just like with their odds. I'm not going to do it. I'd much rather play Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick. Like there's Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah.
Like there's a handful, guys that near or around those odds I'd rather play.
So I would as well. I will make an exception for Jon Rahm and probably will have a small sampling of him just because I do think there is something to be said about he got the monkey off his back of the DP World Tour situation. Like that's now taken care of. He knows he's going to be playing consistently. Like he had to get that figured out, to just accept that he figured out a deal for his fines that he had to pay them. He's locked in to join, go back to that tour full time, or whatever time his life is going to, whatever.
So saying we have no idea.
But like
so
you
it's
mentioned,
not really resolved.
But it, like you mentioned, the live stuff being up in the air. Like for him, I feel like the live stuff now doesn't really matter as much because he's figured out what he's doing next already. So I do feel like there's going to be a little bit of a mental like looseness to him compared to Bryson. Directly, just because we're talking.
Do you
about
really
two
think
guys.
there's much loose to Jon Rahm? He doesn't look like to me
but
a carefree guy. I've seen.
But I would still rather play like you said.
Fair enough.
I would still rather play Cam Young and Xander. I'm just in those two specifically comparing.
Right.
Like I would.
You
be
would
more
rather play
Rahm than
I get
Bryson
that.
This week.
That's fair. I just want to see him. Like he's reached the level where he's like Koepka to me right now. That it's been so long since they, really showed out in a major that I need them to show out in a major before I'm going to bet them. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to see it real fast. So I obviously, I had put in the description, put on the thumbnail, and teased it last week that we were going to have a special guest this week. Last minute, we were not able to have our special guest, so I do apologize for building it up and then it cut and not
surprise
happening.
It's just me, bitches.
Surprise. But it was going to be the one and only Bud Copeland was going to be joining us this week. He had a personal matter come up tonight where he had to just take care of that.
He's got the runs. He didn't,
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he has a blister on his toe. So, but he did send me a few tidbits. So he is picking Scotty to win.
Way to go on a limb there, bud.
He did pick. He said he is going to pick Alex Fitzpatrick at a top 20 bet, maybe even a top 10. He said,
smart guy.
And then he does, and this is what made me think of it because he said his dark horse winner this week is that Major Brooksy will be back. So he's saying if you want to go for a dark horse guy, Brooks could be the guy that he shows off his major talents again.
I've got some bad news for Bud there. I don't know if he's seen Brooks putt this season, which has been a big factor in every one of his major championship victories. Is Koepka has been elite putting in all of those events.
And I do want to see now too how he did because he played in the One Flight Myrtle Beach.
He did. Saturday he spiked and got everybody real excited with a 63 or 4 and like the presser was insane. Yeah, and then he did not play well. Yeah, he didn't play great on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And again, I think it's great that Koepka is, he seems to care, and maybe it took him going to live to realize that, hey, I actually do love, playing in regular golf tournaments too, not just majors. Who knew? But I need to see more for him until his odds get a little higher before I'll just pick him, especially somewhere where like here, where I don't think you can just ball strike your way to winning this event. Like he can ball strike his way to a top 10 or maybe a top 5, but you're not going to win this tournament. I truly don't believe without being, one of the top 30, 40 people in the field putting.
Yep. No, I 100% agree. So let's get to some of our plays because we've rambled on and we only have, so much time left in the show. So let's get some of our plays. I'll start us off in kind of we'll start 10K and above range for now.
You got it.
We basically already touched on, so we'll make this quick. I mean, Scotty is a no-brainer. Even at 13.9 on DK, like, given this week and that we have pricing going all the way down to 5,000 instead of just 6,000, like a lot of tournaments, you can make a pricing like that happen if you really wanted to. So Scotty's in play. Rory, of course, this is a tournament that Rory should win. Like this just is.
I mean, we can say that about
Blister,
pretty much
or not.
every tournament.
Right,
like
blister or not. And then like we already said we're hesitant about Bryson and John, and then Cam Young. So in my top 10, actually in my top 5, Scotty is 1, Rory is 5, Cam Young is 2, Xander is 3. Like that's
who's 4?
4 out of my top 5 are right there in that price range. 4 is I want to. No. It was. Who was 4? He's actually pretty low down. Hold on. Why am I scrolling when I can just sort by my ranks?
I don't know. What are you doing here, bro? You're just talking about wasting time.
Nikolai Højgaard.
Højgaard. Okay.
Højgaard's 4 in my model, so he's at 6,500. So compared to the rest, he's a massive value. There.
I think Xander and Cam are the guys from the expensive range. You should try to jam into your lineups rather than playing Scheffler. You know, I'm the Scotty and cash, death, taxes, and playing Scotty Scheffler and cash. I think this way you pivot away from that because he's going to be very high owned. I like both Cam and Xander a lot, and you can easily afford them a Russell Henley in your lineup and still feel pretty good about the rest of your team because you made the very great point. There is a ton of really good values in the 5 and 6K range. Guys like Nick Taylor, Alex Fitzpatrick, like that you can pay nothing. Jordan Smith, who has played very well in major championship. Like there's guys that you can play and get both of those guys in the lineup. So I really think that's the way to go, is either to have both of those guys in the lineup of that most expensive bunch, or you just really stack your lineup with guys in that 8, 9K range, which has also got a lot of
very juicy
for this venue. Yeah.
Very juicy. And that's the thing, if you are needing to play someone under 6K like that, really at that price, to hit value, all you need them to do is make the cut. And then, like you said, there are plenty of guys in that range down there under 6K that
be shocked if Nick Taylor does not make the cut here.
I was going to say there's plenty of guys on there that 100% can make the cut. They're not going to win the tournament, but 100% can make the cut and just get you 2 more rounds. Even if they just play like 1 over golf, like that's still going to get you like, I don't know, like 16 more points both Saturday and Sunday in DK than other people are.
Alex Smalley, by the way, is 6,100. Nikolai Højgaard is 6,500.
I know. Nikolai Højgaard is 6,500. I'm starting him everywhere.
I mean, Smalley to me is an even better value because I think that it's less likely he misses the cut even than Højgaard does. And he's $400 cheaper. I just think they're both like super safe guys. Smalley has finished 21st or better. And again, when you're looking at somebody that's just good across all facets of the game, that is Alex Smalley. Højgaard, the only concern I have is sometimes like he's a really good putter technically, but he has some really bad putting weeks, which is concerning. Like, you know, like I would rather a guy have the occasional bad week than like, oh my God, the whole reason he missed this cut or played so terrible was he could not buy a putt. But
well, he was
if he drives it well this week, he is going to, I think, be a factor on Sunday.
Well, he was positive at Quail Hollow for strokes gained putting. So that's fantastic. And he was also positive for off the tee and over 2.5 strokes.
I was going to say, if you watched the 2 6-irons he hit into the par 5s on Sunday were some of the most ridiculous crap I've seen in a long time. It was 240 and 262.
Yeah, so Nikolai is in the right form for this week, I feel like. So he's a smash start for me. Quickly, let's get into the 9K range. You mentioned Justin Thomas. I mentioned Tyrrell Hatton.
Hatton and Reed are the 2 guys right here that are, to me, smash plays. And obviously, again, Henley's right below there, I think right at like 8,700. Like those are the 3 guys that I have, all 3 kind of same versions or different versions of the same guy. Like Hatton, elite tee to green, Henley, elite tee to green, and Reed with his iron play right now is elite tee to green. And you have the benefit, especially with Henley and Reed, of elite bent grass putters. And, you know, Hatton, like, this is also, I think, the last, like, great chance he has to win a major championship. Like, I just feel like, again, you know, a course that some people have called a link style course, one where it's so important to drive the ball accurately, which he not only smashes, he drives the ball really straight. He can get so hot with his irons, and he's really good around these kind of greens, which is going to be a big factor this week with, you know, again, 8 par 4s of 450, you know, or less yards, 2 par 5s, etc.
Right, someone in this range too that to not sleep on, I would say. Obviously, Tommy Fleetwood is when you say Link style, like you got to factor him in. He's in there, but Justin Rose as well. So I'll
You're
tell
not
you,
scared of the irons?
no, because I'll tell you what surprised me about Justin Rose. I didn't realize his carry distance was so far. He
Right,
ranks
but you're not
he ranks
worried about the
39.
irons. It was like the worst performance of his career with him on approach.
Right, but he's still 18th on approach for the year, so for the season so far.
But he's only been playing the McLaurin irons for 1 week.
He's a smart golfer that if the conditions are wet,
Okay.
like I think they're gonna forgive him, and I think he's gonna be okay. Which yes, he's playing a new set of irons.
I'm very
I get it.
concerned.
The McLaren iron, like I get
It's
it.
just it's going to take time. Like if you're a regular golfer, you know it takes time. Like you have to get reps, and that's why when they say, "Well, he's been using them for months," it doesn't matter. You need reps under the gun to be able to get where you can trust golf clubs. Again, we know that, like just as casual golfers. So again, because of how expensive he is compared to again, you can the other guys in that range. Yeah. I'm very concerned. I would definitely say that's a GPP play. And not
he's not a cash
if he goes
play.
crazy, you can like I said, blame me. That'll be my fault if he ends up winning the tournament for saying get the hell out of here with that.
Justin Rose is a GPP play for sure. I just think he's I'm leaning on the fact that he's a smart enough golfer to where even if he's still trying to figure out the irons, this feels like the course setup, the tournament style, and just everything.
It's a perfect course for him. I can't believe he did this.
Together. The timing of the new irons.
He would do it with this kind of venue sitting right there when you're this is a Justin Rose venue.
I know it is, and that's why the timing of the new clubs is weird.
Baffling.
But I still feel like I think he could put it together.
I get that.
I think he could be some good value. So I do like that. 8K range, like you said, the 8K range is juicy. I mean, I look at the 8K range. The only real guys I would be weary of playing. It's going to be easier to say the guys I'd be weary to play than the guys I would play. I'd be weary of Spieth. I'd be weary of Ben Griffin. And I'd be weary of Joaquin Niemann. Really, outside of and Marco Pengay, sorry, because he's in there too. Those are really like what's.
Oh, see, I think Pengay could be one of those guys that if it ends up the bomb and gouge is something, he has played like really difficult course as well. He's not afraid to send it full send. So
I just don't think he's accurate enough to. I think
that's fair.
He's the type of player where he's so inaccurate with his approach game. I think that those greens are going to affect him in a way that it might not affect other guys.
He's also though a spike iron player, so I mean, unfortunately, he's just one of those guys that the weeks he's on, he's really freaking good. You know what I mean?
You just can't predict it.
Very unpredictable. Right? Yeah. Exactly.
But other than those guys I just named, the 8K range is pretty much where I think a lot of winning
Sepp and Siwoo at 7,900, I think are just chef kiss, especially for cash. Very safe plays that again are still leaving you if they're the first two players you put in your lineup with a little bit more than 8K per rest of the guy in your lineup. So it gives you a lot of options to go a bunch of different ways. And I think this is like a great venue for Straka, who again, so good from like that 125 to 200 number on approach. And he actually putts the best on bent grass greens. And then Siwoo, man, like there's a chance that, we say this every week and maybe it'll never happen because we say it doesn't seem to change, but he is one spike week away from putting with the way he hits the ball right now, every single week, from not only winning a PGA event, but just like dusting the field. It's just he can't seem to, get it together at this second. But I love Siwoo this week, man. I think he's arguably the best value on the entire board. He is 4th strokes gain approach, 16th off the tee. He is 1st in proximity, 22nd in green area. And this is what I love. He is 1st in both 150 to 175 and 175 to 200 on proximity. And he's 15th from 125 to 150. Siwoo could have a very big week.
So I can definitely see that. I don't hate it. The guy that I'm leaning on here that I think is going to be massive and be under owned just because of the guys around him. This feels like another Jacob Bridgman week. I think his putting is just we know it's elite. His approach game is above average.
It's not bad.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that if you're looking to play a guy that's not going to bomb it, that's going to play it more like pick his spot and strategically around the course, like that's going to be him. So at 7,600, I love that. Also, just a few more names because we're just running out of time here. You mentioned Ricky Fowler. I think Gary Woodland's in play again this week.
Kurt Kitayama a lot this week.
Yep, Batia, yeah. Kurt Kitayama's on a good run right now.
He is a very you want to talk about carry distance, good iron player. There's your guy.
He hits a lot. His one thing, like so many of these guys are talking about, that just slightly holds him back will be if his putters aren't rough. He's one of those guys that it swings. So we'll see about that. I'm gonna give some. I haven't decided yet, but I am going to give some thought to Max Homa getting into this field. I'm not sold that I'm going to actually play him yet, but I'm going to be looking at him more. I like your call on Brian Harmon. Obviously, I said down to 6,500. Nikolai Højgaard is 100% a smash play for me. Anybody else you want to mention before we end this for the night?
Well, I mean, Suter Sean again.
Right,
I just think is a great play. Nick Taylor, another guy that I just freaking love, but I'm keeping a pretty small pool, really hammering like the Hatton, Reed, Henley, Straka, Kim, Adam Scott, and then for the cheaper guys, Yellow Madre, Højgaard, Smalley, Fitzpatrick, Nick Taylor, and I do like Jordan Smith a lot. He's somebody who's played pretty well in the majors, drives it both far and accurate, really good iron player. I think that this is going to be a good venue for Jordan Smith as well, and he's like 5,500.
Yeah, I was just looking up his price. Yeah, 5,500 spot on. So yeah, I like that play as well. So, like we said, there's value down there. So don't be afraid to pay up for the big names this week. You can make it work. Just make sure you listen. Go and listen to Fantasy Six Pack right after this with Keith. I'm sure they'll be touching on more of those value plays. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us, watching. Thank you for jumping in the chat. Zero God, we saw you. Cheers to you again. We love you guys. We are Divots and Pivots. I am Andrew. This is Keith. And get over to Fantasy Six Pack.
You're the man, Andrew. Have a good one, buddy.
We love you all.